got a pair of Russell Moccasin Minimalist boots. I've had these probably at least 10 years. I've resoled them once before, and I want to go ahead and put a new sole on them today. The last time I resoled these, I had no clue what I was doing. I've learned a lot since then. I was just learning, trying to figure stuff out, and I thought, I have a pair of boots, so I'm going to resole them, and I did. But what happened was, when I was preparing these surfaces, I sanded. I wasn't paying enough attention, and I sanded through some of the thread holding this in, so it was a lot weaker. So I know that's what happened. So anyway, I'll be a little more careful this time. So I'll just show you how hard it is once something is glued on properly to get apart. So I'm going to start back here until I can get something to lift up, like right there. You can see I'm starting to get it to lift up. I have a pair of, I think these are sheet metal pliers. I got them at an estate sale. So we're going to get a hold of them, and we're going to try to get it to pull up just a little bit, and then I'm going to try to get some thinner in there. I have these. These are from Home Depot probably, or Menards or Lowe's, and they're cutters. They'll cut nails, so you can pull with these. But you got to be careful you don't squeeze too hard, otherwise it will cut. So I'm not getting anything to really come loose. So I have some barge. It's in a wrong can. The one I had was leaking, but it's a barge cement thinner. It's probably not the best to take a good whiff of it too much. Got a little jar here. Now I'm going to try to get a little bit of that down in there. Watch it splash you in the face. Like that. And see how that's starting to loosen up now? And now it won't go anymore. I'm going to go just a little bit more thinner in there. And it's probably not the best thing for your hands, but see how hard that is to get off. It's because we did a good job last time when we prepared these two surfaces. I think a little squirt bottle, like a little ketchup bottle, would really help. So you can see it takes a lot of effort to get that to pull loose. There. So there we have that. That's pulled off. A little sanding disc. Got it at the hardware store. It goes in a drill. I could put this in a cordless drill or electric hand drill. This is a 36 grit disc. They come in a pack, something like that. This isn't a package of 80 grit. And so anyway, 36. The bigger, the smaller the number, the more coarseness of the disc. So I'm going to start off with this. We could use this. We could use a wire brush. We could put in the drill. There's these sanding drums. That would do it as well. So I'm going to start with this one, and we're going to get it set down in the drill. See what happens. So with this, it's going to be harder for me to see where our strings are, So I may just kind of hit the high spots down the center. We'll see what happens. You can see I'm coming at it, holding it at an angle like that so I can see better. Okay, you see that's a lot rougher now. You see there's even down to that midsole. It's rough wherever I've gotten through the glue. If you didn't have a drill, you could buy these discs and you can just put your finger in there like that and on this side, and then you can just, take and sand and rough this up, pretty quickly yourself without, and actually it looks like I might do that. See how that's rolling off that old glue? Because I'm able to feel like I can control where I'm at. And yeah, I can control where I'm sanding and not worry about ruining those threads. So I think that's what I'm going to do on the rest of these. I'm just going to take my time. It won't be a lot of time, but just maybe 10 minutes will probably do. Sitting down. So this one we didn't start on the bottom this is one we was working on by hand down there. So turn it over just like that. Pretty much. We've pretty much got the center. We're pretty happy with it. Because if that glue that's on there is not loose and it's rough, then the new glue, I keep saying glue, it's a cement, it will stick to it just fine. So now I just need to get outside of my threads as best I can without doing too much damage to those threads. Because in 2 years, I don't want to have to be stitching something else back up. I'd like to get another 10 years out of a set of soles. Or 4, 5. Where it's thicker over those threads, I'm going to leave it alone. I might hit it a little bit on top to roughen it up. Because I don't want the very edges of this to start picking up. coming loose and picking up. And I do recall right here is a different color thread. I had to do some thread work right there last time, stitching. But if this was brand new, we was making a pair of shoes, then we really wouldn't get too worried because we wouldn't have these threads in the way. We would just, you know, when it was big, we'd just taken it to the sanding wheel, scuffed it up real good, and then put everything together. And then, you know, wouldn't have threads to worry about. It's already be all ready to cement after we stitched everything together. But I've only a few pair of boots that I've made. Well, I've only made a few, but I made several shoes, and I haven't stitched any of the shoes. The boots I did, but they were a last issue, and I had a hard sole and a heel and a steel shank. But I've made a couple of minimalist boots as I was trying to learn. They didn't turn out so well. I still have them in a box of my failed stuff, so. If you wanted, you could break this. It's really stiff, like it's a stiff fiber. You could break it, and then it would have a square edge. If you wanted something that, you know, you was wanting to sand right up to, you know, like that, you know, up to something flat, you could snap that off and give you a square edge. And then you'd have a little bitty piece if you needed to, you know, like here I had a piece when I sanded this to put some glue in there when I was just doing a temporary fix. Then that would have worked good to just run back and forth in there to clean that up, rough it up so the cement would hold. And I got these boots on eBay for $99 plus shipping. And Russell Moccasins, these particular boots at the time was probably $500. But I don't know, somebody bought them and I don't know what the story was. Don't know. But and this was the first pair of minimalist boots I had. I had some Newporter, well, not Newporter, New Balance shoes. I saw a commercial on them and bought them. I liked them. Then I had some foot skins, moccasins, and then my wife got these for me. And first day I put them on, didn't like them. Didn't like them at all. But I wore them, and I wore them for 3 days. Was doing some remodeling on the house, and came home late on the 3rd day. Was tired, really tired. I was just sitting in a chair, and then I realized that I hadn't taken my boots off, and I realized my feet weren't hurting, and I decided I liked them, and I still do. I've been wearing another pair of boots that they were not minimalist, but I turned them into minimalist shoes. So with the exception of a few pair of boots that I've made that have a full sole that I've worn half a dozen times maybe, and some boat shoes, occasional dress shoe or something where I have to wear something, for the past at least probably 12 years I've been wearing a minimalist style shoe. I like it. These actually have more stiffness and solid bottom than what I actually been wearing this past 7-8 months. Feels rough. I feel for any place that feels slick. I'm not finding it. There's pencil magic marker when this was made. They make them by hand, I believe. Well, I'm pretty sure they did up there at, I think it's Wisconsin. So that's that one. Here is ready. And okay. I'm going to stitch this up with some thread. So we're going to take an awl and then a little hook with a hook on an awl, and we're going to stitch a couple of stitches across here to hold this down, and then we can put our sole on. So I'm going to pull off a piece of string, and I'm going to pull a third of it to one side. I guess it don't really matter how much you do. So I'm going to find a hole where needle went through the outside, and then make it go through the inside. Wiggle it around, make the hole as big as this all, ouch, we'll let it go, and put our hook in towards the front. We're going to take our string, make a loop on it. We're going to try to get down in there and hook it over that needle, and of course it's hard to reach down there. Put it under my fingernail maybe. Yeah, it'll slide off. Reach back in there. Slide the awl up alongside my finger, and we know that the hook's towards the front, so then we pull back and we can work our string through. Now I don't know the right way to do this, so This may be wrong, but okay. Come back, find another spot, work through the inside layer of leather. Pull back. Probably should have put some beeswax on that one, make it slide easier. There it is. Okay. So we need to make a loop and catch that string and pull it through. Okay. So now I'm going to fish that through. Beeswax. That through. Put my fingers on each side as I feel it coming into the inside. Starting to push the leather up, and slowly and gently work through it without jabbing yourself. Okay. Now I got a hole in it. Now this back through. Why ain't that going? Is that off the same spot? There. Okay, find our string inside, hook it, pull it through, fish this one through that hole, that loop. Just like that. So I'm going to do that a few more times. Stitches. Now I'm back past, here's where my good stitch was, and now I got an extra one past my good stitch. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to push my awl through, catch that string on the inside and pull it out, and we're going to tie it here. Okay, if I can get this one hooked and missed it. I'm very slow at this. But they're my boots. And I guess it's my time, so gonna tie a knot right here. See where I frayed some of this with that sharp spot on that needle, or that awl. I should probably look and see if there's some better quality ones somewhere. Imagine there is. In fact, I'm going to. Not right now, but anyway, so we'll just tie this like this. Overhand knot or granny knot or whatever you want to call it. And it will be just fine. It's going to be glued down. Okay, now I have a decision to make. This is my old soles, and I could go back with those. I was somewhat relatively satisfied with them. They felt, I don't know, they were pretty fair. They did a lot better in the mud and dry grass than the new porters that I had previously. But when you walk on, the compound on these is a lot slicker. If you walk in, let's say you're going into the hardware store or something, and it's been raining and it's wet, and then you walk onto that tile, it's a lot slicker, where these new porters are not. So I think I'm going to save these for another project, because I've just recently took those off. Then that leaves the Elvis soles, which I have. I'm not going to use the white ones on here. I'm going to save these. I got some gray leather and some white leather. I'm thinking some sort of a shoe for these. And these are really, really good on wet surfaces as well. But so white is out. I'm not going to do that. I've got this tan, which would look just fine on there. And I have black ones upstairs on another pair of boots. But as you can see, they don't have as much wear, as they're not quite as thick, which is not bad for a minimalist shoe at all. You don't really want thick, but these are going on my boots, and they came with the new porter, so I am leaning towards, I think I'm just going to go with the new porter in this size. Obviously I don't need to waste a big one. I do have this option. They're Vibram. The thing that I don't know for sure on them is they're pretty heavy, pretty thick. If this low spot here is going to bother me with my foot, the arch, whereas these being on there, it was a solid, when I walked this, all of this was a sticker in there. Oh, it's a piece of wire. The solid, I wonder what I stepped on to get that. Look at that. Anyway, so this is so this was solid across there. So if I put these on there, put that right in the center, so it would be like that, then I've got, I think that might be irritating, walking in those, as well as it's a lot heavier. But in the winter, having just a little bit more sole might be nice too. Just because walking on a, but so, oh, and then I've got SVIG cross-soling, which I like that on shoes. I wouldn't like that on these. They're fine for like a shoe, but I don't think I would like that for. I know I wouldn't like it for those boots. So that's out. So I've got. Part of me wants to just put these on there, and if I don't like them, I can take them off. But they're expensive, and I don't want to waste them. So we're gonna put the new Porters on. .36 grit. And this needs to be rough. And this is roughed up already. On the bottom we did that earlier. So we need to do that here. I can use this like earlier. Or I can go up and put it on my drill press, and I do have a belt sander, which makes it a lot faster. So I may just go do that on the belt sander, but you can. It's just the same as what we did, you know. And these new Porters, these are very. I mean, look at that. You know, you're starting to put a little bit on it, not much. It takes a lot of effort to get these scuffed up. But if you don't do it, you won't. They won't stick. I guarantee it. I know they won't. Ask me how I know? Well, when I put this pair of boots here, when I took the sole off, remember I said I didn't know anything really. At that time I hadn't figured much out. What I had done was I tore that apart, like I just did a little bit ago, and put glue or cement, let it get tacky, put it on, and it wouldn't stay. It wouldn't stay, no matter what I did. Pulled it off, and I could just drag my hand on the cement and roll it off. And so I decided to rough it up, and well, you saw how hard it was to pull off, so you got to do that. It's on the slide. Put it up against my sewing machine. I mean, you don't have to have it. It'll look like you ran it through a garbage disposal, but you got to have some places for that cement to grab a hold of. Otherwise, your soles won't last or won't stay on. And we're going to trim these after we put them on. And we're going to try our best to get it so they both pairs look like they're the tread matches up on both sides. So if you're looking at them upside down, which you won't when you're wearing them, but so you're relatively straight on your pattern. Alright, well, can you see the shiny part right here? That is not scuffed up. Right there, it's not scuffed up. Why isn't it there? Well, or right there, it's because it's not solid. It indents. So I'm gonna put our finger in there and get that scuffed up. Otherwise it won't stay. So I put it right on the corner of the table. See that? Maybe that'll... You know, it's this out here at the very edge. We're probably, well, I know we won't be using that. We will be cutting a portion of that off when we trim this, but I don't know exactly how much we're going to trim and where we're going to trim. So I want it to stick, especially at the edges. If it's right at the very edge, we don't want that lifting up at all when we're walking or anything. And the shoe repair person, they have this big sanders they use. I've got a little cheap, economical sander in the garage. I could go and run on this, or I could use that disc on the wheel, that drill, and scuff these real good. Oops. See? Can't, probably the light ain't right, is it? Well, it's scuffed up pretty fair. Okay, so we'll call that one pretty good. There's this one. Looks like it's been kind of scuffed a little bit, probably at the factory, but I know that they don't hold if you don't do this. So. How much time do we have left? I don't know. Battery's charging still, so battery died earlier, so I don't know if we've got everything we needed or not. Plugged in now. So, anyway, you get the idea. I'm going to save some battery, and I'll be back. Our soles lined up the same. So, when we put these on, because we'll glue these and then we'll try to get them lined up perfect. What I do, and I'm sure there's a lot better way to do it, if you know it, I'd like to know as well, but alright, so right here, so I'm going to pick a spot on my board here that I'm going to go between the 10 and the 11 here. So I'm going to turn this over. 10 and 11 is my center. And you can see that's the soft spot on here. You can feel it, and then do the same over here. My 10 and 11 is right there, and I'm going to line it up with this line and with this line. So 10 right there. So there's my center. And back here, I'm going to actually mark my center with a pencil. Yeah. I'm going to mark the center back here and the center up here so I can get a line to line up so I can have them straight. So at this, okay, right here at this line, we are right at 10 millimeters. So I'm going to call that center, and that's this line. I'm going to call that center. And then let's go across here, 13. So there's my center, ballpark, this line, 6, okay. So there's my center. Okay, so this is going to be out past where I'm gluing. Not that it matters, it's just a pencil. But it's the only place that I'll be able to really see, so the rest don't matter. So these are ballpark center line. I mean, as close as and it doesn't actually have to be center, I guess, probably. It's a reference mark, so you can still, you can line these up somewhere here. So I'm going to just scoot this over till that line's up here on these lines, and I'm going to call that good. There's a line there. And so that's ballparkish. Now, with that being centered, it would have been smarter to have put this one over here and this one, whatever, but it didn't appear that I did that, does it? So here's our center, here's our center. Just put your finger, or I just put my finger about center where I want that Vibram deal and lay it across there, and we'll call that where we want it, and just kind of eye it so it looks like what you want. And then you can play with it excuse me, and then you can measure at the back. I can't bring this camera around, but you can measure at the back from the heel how far back you are on each one. So here we are at 20 millimeters, and I'm going to push this up to, oops, there's about 20 millimeters. And so then I can come over on the side, and so on the inside, 10 millimeters, and 10 millimeters there, so I think that's pretty good. Now I'm going to get an ink pen. And I am going to mark around the heel. So I can have a guideline when I go to put this together. Because once we start putting it down, it is going to stay where we put it. So we will start at the heel, put it down, and roll it forward. So we want to have... Okay, this is the glue that I have. It's, well, cement. EMU SAR 36 Super Strength All-Purpose Cement. I got this is actually made in Canada, but in all honesty, I believe you can use any of the higher grade industrial contact cement. Barge cement is really good. It's more expensive. There's a lot of different brands. So now the important thing with this is if you read the directions on any of this stuff, and it's really important. Right here, what it says is material must be free of oil, grease before attaching soles. Roughen up, so we've done that. Then brush one coat on both parts. Let dry 10 to 40 minutes, depending on quantity used. Let parts, then you join the parts and hammer if needed. 2 coats may be applied. Seems like it. Okay, so we're just going to make sure we go beyond our pin marks, because if we for some reason get a little crooked and it sticks most everywhere, we want it to stick everywhere. So we're just gonna put this on. And as it dries, we'll be able to see through and see our pin marks. I suppose a smart person would probably put on a respirator. I don't know. I don't think it's probably healthy for you too much. But got some air flowing through the windows and out the door, or vice versa. So we're going to go ahead and get this painted up with plenty of glue, or just a nice amount. And when it's talking about hammering it, if needed, on the bottom of this sole, it's not perfect at all. It's not perfectly flat. Or I'm sorry, the midsole. It's not perfectly flat. Where I've walked in this for how many miles and miles and miles, my foot has made an impression inside of the boot and inside of the, pushing on this midsole, and like where we stitched it down on this particular sole, it's pulled in there a little tighter than it was before. So it's a little lower there. And so what hammering is going to do is it's going to get any air that's in there out, that gets stuck between the two layers of glue as we put it down. It forces that air out, and it's going to let all those low places, we're going to force the two pieces to come in contact with each other and get really super duper glued and stuck like this. It's all glistening and shiny, and I believe I've got everything. So I'm gonna set this over here out of the way. And we're going to move on over and do the same thing we did on that one. Yeah, what's intended. So we're probably right at 20 minutes on this instead of 40. So I'm going to line up the back. Get the light. And I have not used this glue. You saw it was almost full. But I anticipate it to work just like the others, as quickly. Okay. We're just going to roll it ahead. Okay. I'm going to do this one. Okay. Now, I'm hoping I can get this in there. There it goes. Now we're just going to beat on it. Put your feet on the base of it, and it'll keep it from sliding around. And you turn it as you want. Sometimes I will do one. I've only done this a few times, but when I've made some shoes, I will usually just glue one, put the sole on it, and then hammer it, and then do the other one. Just because, I don't know, I didn't do that this time, but I don't know that it matters. For some reason or another, I thought that it would be important. You know, on these new porters, they're not as easy to cut as that SVIG soling. Obviously, they're a lot thicker. But these shears do a pretty good job on it. I can use a knife if I want. I may. We're going to be careful because we really don't want to cut this or cut our fingers, but we should be able to keep the point down pretty low. See that? We can keep that point down there pretty low. And get it started. And be careful. That's going to show you how I'm doing that or not, but you guys already know how to do this, so I don't know why I'm showing you. if you just kind of just do a slicing motion, and it's gonna cut at different rates because of the different thicknesses of the rubber. When you're cutting right here, it cuts easy. There, it's going to cut hard because it's thicker. So when if you think if you're pulling really hard on it, and you think, oh, I can just do that the whole way around, when you hit a thin spot, if you're pulling real hard, not taking it easy and slow, see, there it just went real fast. You'll do that, and you could, either come all the way back and cut yourself, or slip and cut too deep, cut into this. I'm not sure. Are you ready to see how far off I am? Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, we're off a little bit, quite a little bit here on the heel, aren't we? There. Just more here, less here, and more here. But, you know what? I think they will still work. Well, there they are. I didn't do a very good job of getting them cleaned up, but I think they're going to be just fine. Don't you?